Hi, Merch Money. We are going a little bit early today. We've got Harris from Pretty Merch with us today, so very exciting. Um, yes, thank you so much for joining all the way from Cyprus.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. It's a good thing I didn't have to fly over to have
I
this
know.
interview. I would have had to leave on Monday to be there today.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, speaking of which, what day is it? What time is it there?
It's Wednesday, and it's almost 7 o'clock at night.
7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday?
So, yeah, what
So
day?
it's the
It's
day, because
Tuesday.
it's Thursday here,
No,
right?
no, wait. I think I lost track of the day. Let me tell you.
I think
No,
it's
it's
Thursday,
Thursday.
right?
Thursday. I'm still on
I was
Wednesday
going to say, I'm
though.
like, I don't think we're a full day off.
Tomorrow I was gonna say that the weekend came really early.
I know it's a true sign of
Yeah.
an entrepreneur when we have no idea what day it
Yeah.
is. But anyway, well, thank you so much. And I see Monty joining, and I know people are starting to join. Sorry, we went a little early, guys. We were testing sound, and then everything was good, and we're like, might as well just go live. So
Yeah. Why wait?
anyway, um, well, first of all, thank you so much. And then we usually just start with kind of your background. I don't know anything about your background or your story. How did you find out about print on demand and get into this whole space?
Well, yeah, I think probably like most other people, I was just searching for this hot topic called passive income, and I found a YouTube video. I don't remember right now who it was from, and that's when I started researching into it. I actually just got out of another company that I sold at that time, which was again a software company. So I was looking for the next thing that I want to do, and I was really interested in FBA, which I actually started and I was doing for a couple of years. And at the same time, I heard about print on demand or merch. But basically, I already had a Teespring account for several years, but I wasn't really selling anything there. So when I heard about merch, I decided to sign up and try it out. And yeah, that's how I got into it.
Wow. So what year was all of that? When did you start doing FBA and Teespring and all that?
Teespring, I started, if I'm not mistaken, in 2015.
2015.
And
Okay.
FBA in 2017, which was the same year I started merch as well. So I was doing a lot of things in parallel. I've
Nice.
stopped FBA now because it's really difficult when you're doing it from a different country.
Yes.
Sometimes you can get lucky and it works out, but if you're not close to the merchandise to be able to have things shipped to your address and check them out and be 100% sure of what you're selling, it's very difficult to succeed. Really have to get lucky.
Yeah, I know that there are people who do FBA all over the world, but I always wondered that too. I was like, how are they doing it? Because sometimes I would feel like would have trouble finding enough profit with shipping to FBA.
Yeah,
And I lived, so close to a lot of the fulfillment centers. So,
yeah.
yeah, I can only imagine if it's out of the country.
Well, yeah. The problem, well, one is the shipping. That
Mhm.
it's very expensive, and you also don't get the chance to check out the product.
Yeah,
You
and
only
that's
see the
important.
samples, which are always good. So
Yes.
you have no idea what arrived at Amazon.
Yeah, because you would just have it shipped directly to Amazon, I guess, and not
Yeah,
to your
yeah,
house first.
exactly. Hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's a interesting path. A lot of us all started with FBA and eventually led to print on demand. Were you doing
Yeah.
anything before that, like entrepreneur type thing, or were you at a full-time job? Or
Well, I had a full-time job for 1 year after I finished university.
Mhm.
I was working at a bank for about a year, and I really didn't like it at all. I mean, I didn't want to go to work in the morning, so I lasted for about a year, and then I left. So I've always been doing entrepreneurial stuff. First, I had a training center, and I was teaching computers to kids. That went for a few years, and then I wanted to move on from that. So I started a software company with a friend, which had to do with training. It was
Mhm.
basically, well, not similar to Pretty Merch, but it had similar ideas. It was like a dashboard and a management system for private schools to have their students, their parents, their payments, and so on, so they could manage everything regarding their business. And that went until 2015, 2006, the end of 2016, actually. And after I sold that was exactly when I started looking into FBA and merch.
Wow. Well, that's really interesting path. So when you were teaching computers, is that what you said? Teaching computers?
Yeah.
So you already kind of knew about software and all of that. So when you got into merch, was that your initial plan to start coming up with software to help, or how did you?
No, not at all. I hadn't even thought of it. But because I'm sort of obsessed with customer experience and user experience online, because it's something that I've been doing for a long time, I immediately didn't like the merch dashboard, especially back then when it was very different.
Yes.
So I actually made a small plugin for myself, which I was using for a few months, which was just something to show me what I sold today, which was missing. The dashboard shows you, and it still does, what you sold for the last 7 days.
Right.
And after that, I started adding a few things to it just for myself. I mean, I had no intention of making an extension and so on. And the reason I made it into extension was I posted a screenshot one time, and people were asking me about it, and they liked it because it was very new. I mean, there wasn't something else like it at that time. So I decided to move on and make it into a much better product than I initially had planned.
Wow. So you didn't start Pretty Merch until 2017, 2018? When did it start?
It was the end of 2017, yeah.
Wow. I don't know why I thought it was so much earlier than that. I guess, see, I was doing FBA, and so I was only doing merch very much on the side, like very much. Like I would just get 25 designs a month from a design company and upload them, and that's it. So I worked on merch once a month from like 2016 to 2018. So I guess I must just not have known that Pretty Merch wasn't around before that, because I wasn't really serious about merch until 2018.
Yeah, probably.
But for some reason, I thought it was so much earlier than that. So it's fairly recent.
Yeah, well, it's almost 2 years. No,
3 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, but I guess just I didn't realize that we had to do without Pretty Merch the first 2 years.
Yeah, it was nice. You had to go to the analyze page, select the dates, and refresh
oh my
all the
gosh.
time.
Wow. You guys, if you have stories about what it was like Pretty Merch, let us know. Were you so excited when it came out? I don't remember it coming out. For some reason, I thought it was just like always there. I got it. I guess I must have got it pretty soon when you first came out, because I know I had it most of the time I was doing merch.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you shared a screenshot. People loved it. How did it catch on so quickly? Were you surprised? Like, whoa, tell us the whole story of how it started.
I was. I really didn't expect it to catch on so quickly, because it was getting a few thousand users per month at the beginning. And I guess there was just a need for something like that. It was missing completely. There were other extensions, there were other helpful tools for merch, but I guess they weren't as well designed, or they were doing something different. So there was generally a need for something like that. So that's why it caught on so quickly.
Yeah,
I mean, now it doesn't seem so strange, but I mean, not being able to see your sales of the day, it was very weird at that time, especially for me, because I was used to other software systems. I thought it was really strange that you couldn't even see your today's sales, which are probably the most important thing for everyone to look at.
Yeah, people check their phone or their, refresh their computer all the time to see the sales. Yeah. So you definitely hit on something. And I think you really hit on the making it like almost like a game, or really fun to tear up, because you had those little characters. How did you think of that?
Well, this wasn't planned. I mean, I didn't try to make it like a game. It was just something that I liked and I found interesting. And it was also something that I had used in the previous software. There were little monsters again. There were different designs, but they were mainly because the software was targeted to be used for kids, the previous one that I'm talking about. The teacher could give them little monsters as a reward for being good in class or doing their homework and so on. So that's why the idea was in my head, and I just thought it would be cute to put them in pre-merge as well, just to make it a little bit fun.
I love that. So it came from a previous thing, because it's one of those things where it's like you wouldn't think that grown adults would get so excited about new monsters or unicorns or whatever, but we do, all of us.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my gosh, we finally got the unicorn or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny. But it was a great idea. So I'm glad you did that. And Ian has a good point. He's saying, make sure to say thank you for you being so patient with all the random updates that merch does and changing things. So then you have to fix the Chrome extension. So thank you for keeping up with it.
I have to thank you for being patient, because I know it's frustrating. By the way, sorry, can you hear the notifications? Because I'm hearing notifications in my ear all the time. Can you hear them as well?
I'm not hearing it. I don't know.
Okay, that's good. Just so they don't annoy you. Yeah, I know it's frustrating for everyone, but we don't really know when Amazon is going to make changes. So we just have to chase after them and fix things after they make the changes. I understand. I mean, all the changes they've made have been to create a better product for their market, and we just have to follow them. So yeah. I do my best to fix it. I mean, whenever there's a change, especially in my time zone, they happen at about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So when there's a change, I have to stay up all night to fix it. I can't hear it until the next morning. So yeah, I understand sometimes there's some downtime until they get fixed, but I think now we're on a better platform altogether. So I don't expect that Amazon's going to make huge changes from now on, which will break all of the extensions and just pretty much.
Yeah. Well, everybody's saying they love pretty merch. Ian is saying a story before. And speaking of which, Ian, you're showing up now. You used to show up as Facebook user, but now you're showing up with your name. So you don't even have to tell me Ian anymore. I remember tediously downloading monthly spreadsheet files before pretty merch and trying to combine them together. So yes, helps a lot.
The CSVs. Yeah.
So if there's anyone in the audience that doesn't know what pretty merch is yet, can you give like a little bit of a explanation of it?
Well, in the most basic sense, it's a redesigned dashboard for Merch by Amazon. It collects all your sales data and shows them in a nice readable format on your screen, and it updates you all the time on your new sales. That cha-ching that you hear all the time, it started from pre-merge. And other than that, it gives you some other features such as detailed analytics. You can choose any time period you want, and it shows you on the spot analytics concerning that time period, bestsellers, the best-selling days, months, for every product and color what you've sold. And the most recent thing we've added is a product manager, which basically indexes all your products on your computer so you can find them faster. And it gives you several filters so you can drill down into your products and find basically your products and edit them or delete them or update them.
And you have a free version and a paid version, right?
Yeah. Well, basically the free version, it's 90% of the functionality of the product. Well, it depends on what tier you're in. If you're in one of the lower tiers, it's totally free because you can use everything. For the paid version, the difference is that you don't have limits to how many products it indexes. And you also have access to the analytics for all the dates.
Yes, that's really helpful. And then Patty has a good comment. She said that she got a tear up yesterday, and I love the new surprise feature.
Yeah.
And congratulations, Patty. That's awesome.
She didn't tell us what tier she got into.
Oh, yeah. What tier? You don't have to say if you don't want to. But yeah, this is, AAW is saying that you're very fast with updating. So thank you. That was really nice of you to stay up all night to fix it for us.
Yeah.
Mike has to go. Work calls. Tier 6,000. Great job.
Oh, cool. That's nice.
And we can't control Amazon, unfortunately. They do what they please. We have to work around their schedule, not the other way around. That would be nice if we could control what Amazon did. But nope.
If they had an official API for merch like they do for FBA, which they probably will have at some point, then all these changes wouldn't affect the extension, since we'll be using an API, which we know beforehand when it changes. But at the moment, because everything we do is sort of a workaround to be able to collect that data and show it, any change they make, it affects the way the extension works.
Do you know why they don't have an API yet? Like, has any?
It just takes time to make. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sure that when they get around to it, or when merch is big enough, as far as the community goes, and developers interested in developing things for it go, I'm sure they'll have an API at some point.
What do you think? I mean, I don't know if you have any interaction with merch or not, but what do you think, do you foresee in the future with merch? Do you feel like it's going to keep getting bigger, or do you feel like kind of like coasting now, or what do you think?
I think so. I mean, it's Amazon. It's always getting bigger.
Right. That's what I think.
And more people are getting onto Amazon, not just as sellers, but as buyers as well. I mean, all the younger people growing up. And so the market is just getting bigger, which means that the amount of sellers will get bigger as well.
Yes.
Especially if they can find a good way and a more automated way of handling the copycat problem.
Yes, they do really need to work on that.
Then it'll be much better for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be really interesting to see what happens in the future to help solve that problem. Yeah. But what do you foresee with Pretty Merch? Do you have ideas for it in the future? Is there anything that you're working on with it?
I wish I could show you my to-do list.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know, hundreds of features that have been suggested by users. And whenever someone suggests something, I take a note of it. I have a Trello, if you know the application, a Trello board, and I have all the feature requests there. And I try to combine them together when they're similar or the same thing. And whenever something seems popular or a lot of people need it, I try to work on it next. And there are many things that I want to do. I just wish I had double, triple the hours in the day to be able to do this.
So do you do this full time, or do you have another job, or do you have a team?
No, at the moment, this is my full-time job. I mean, I'm working on all the time on some part of Pretty Merch. I don't have a team, but some things I sort of outsource, maybe parts of it, but not the extension, only as far as the apps go, because I'm not a very good mobile app developer. So those parts I have to outsource mostly. And we're having a lot of problems with the apps in the last couple of weeks, and I'm trying to fix them. But yeah, I work a good 12 hours a day on it.
Wow. Were you so excited about that? Or because I'm sure when you first did it, you probably were doing something else. Were you mostly just working on merch and FBA and all of that? And then transitioned to Pretty Merch once it started growing more?
Yeah, for the first 6-8 months, I was doing it part-time, spending a couple of hours a day in my free time updating it and adding new features. But then when it caught on and there is a different kind of pressure on yourself as well when
Yes.
there are so many people using it, and they're sending you emails, asking you for features, telling you that there are problems. So you can either just let it go and whatever happens, or you have to work full time on it to be able to maintain it at the level that's expected.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like how much work goes into those extensions. Can you give an example of stuff you have to do during the day to keep it all going?
Well, at this point, there's a lot of customer support as well, because I also do that by myself. I
Yeah.
hate it when other people answer emails which are directed to someone else. So I
Yes.
like to answer every message by myself, and I don't even have templates for answering. I mean, I type every message
Oh my God.
individually. Yeah, because I want the answers to be personalized for each person, and for some things which are straightforward. For example, one common issue we have is that people lose their licenses. For those, I copy and paste the message, which is the same for everyone. But 99% of the messages I answer them by myself. I hope I've answered everyone's messages. I try, but sometimes I might get lost in the chaos.
That is a lot of work. And you have a
Yeah, that's
Facebook
one
group,
thing.
right?
I have
Or
a Facebook page. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't create a group, but I could do that actually. I think it'll be helpful. I just don't want to have too many points of contact so I could handle them.
Yes,
But
that's
I think
important.
if there's a group, it might help reduce the number of personal messages, PMs that I get.
That's a good point. Guys, the group, the page is linked in the description. So definitely like that page if you haven't already, because then you'll be able to hear updates and things like that. So
yeah, that's one part of the job, the customer support. And the rest is basically development, adding new features, testing them. There are several things that haven't been released, which either are not good enough or I'm not sure if they're stable enough. The last few weeks have been full time only working on the apps. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at Matthew's thing. He says, I send Harris way too many messages.
I
So
know
he's
that
one of the
picture,
people that you have
that
to do
profile picture. I see it all day. Hi, Matthew.
Oh, this is an interesting comment from Ian. He's saying, would it be possible to develop a module that might forecast potential future growth of an account based on past growth?
Is that possible? I've thought of it before. Someone's asked it. Maybe it might even be Ian. But it's so unpredictable. I mean, based on what? One day you have 100 sales and the other day you have 0, and people are asking in Facebook groups why, if anyone knows why.
Yes. We don't have a crystal ball. It's impossible because you have no idea how many new people are going to come in and upload a shirt in the same niche. You don't know if the trend is going to go away, if it's based on a trend. There's just variables.
It is possible to use trends like you described to get an estimate, or I don't know, it's going to be a guess basically of what you expect. But I think it's going to be totally different from reality. Just because of how...
I'm sure Amazon probably has a way to predict future sales, but I think they just have so many more points of data. There's so many more people.
Yeah.
So it might be a little easier just the general uptick of sales, but that doesn't mean that you individually are going to have an uptick of sales.
But they also control the sales. So
exactly. They have so much more control over it than we do.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, there are many times where we've seen one seller stop having sales and another one starts having sales. Or sometimes sellers have a really good month and the next month they don't have any sales at all. Or we don't know when the Amazon is going to run out of products, or if they have to slow down sales to be able to catch up. I mean, all these are unknowns. I'm sure they're handling them very well, but it would be impossible to predict with all these unknowns.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, I don't know either, but it feels like there's some kind of rotation of shirts.
Yeah, we
because
don't know.
yeah,
That's the thing.
yeah, they haven't explained to me exactly how they do everything, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, it would be nice to be able to know a little bit more of what's happening in the future, and also just knowing like what's coming. Like we don't really know
Yeah,
when new products are coming or anything like that.
yeah.
Um, so all right, so you were telling about, I think we sort of interrupted you. You were talking about development. So
Hmm.
what does that look like for you? Do you work on one project at a time, or are you kind of like thinking about a lot of ideas at once?
I try not to do that. It's something that I do a lot, and I lose focus, and in the end, I don't do anything.
Mhm.
So I try to have a list. I always have a notebook. I like writing things down by pen, pen on paper. And I try to start one thing at a time, finish it, and then go to the next one. Whenever I manage to do that, I'm more productive. But most of the time, I'm just doing a little bit of one thing, a little bit of another thing. And in the end, I lose focus and nothing gets done at the end of the day.
Oh, so you have the same problem as all of us. So
Yeah.
we're all guilty of it. I like this
Yeah.
idea by AAAW. Please change the fishing man by motivational quotes because zero sales should be a motivational day to start improving and enhancing and go with different strategies.
That's a nice idea.
I like that. What a great idea.
Maybe
Um,
the fisherman can throw out some motivational quotes while he's fishing. Just
you're like,
saying.
nope, fishing guy is staying.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's nice that you've built things where it's just so recognizable. Like when someone talks about the fishing guy, everybody knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Same thing with all the little monsters and stuff. Like everybody knows. So you've done a great job of I don't know what you would call it, brand awareness or whatever you would
Yeah.
call it. Everybody recognizes it.
The nice thing for me is because in this software I'm alone. I mean, I don't have a partner or investors like we did in the last company, and no one to have to tell them what you're doing and show them the product and get, how do you say it,
Approval.
exactly, to get approval for anything. Whenever I have an idea that I personally like, I can add it to software, and in most cases it's good. I mean, people like it. If this was another software where I had a partner or I had employees and I had to get approval from one person, then from another, I don't think you would be able to see a fishing guy sitting in the middle of the screen and a totally different monster at the top. They don't really fit together. I don't know why I put them there in the first place, but I left them because people like them.
That's a very good point. You're right. Like if it was a company, they would want it to be a little bit more cohesive. But it
Yeah,
is
exactly.
it is neat. Matthew, we talked about how Pretty Merch started at the beginning of the show, but that is a good point about the layout. He's asking, like, how did you think of the layout that you did? He likes the layout.
Uh, it's not really something difficult. I mean, more or less, most dashboards have a similar layout. At the beginning, it was different. I mean, it was a little bit less tidy and a little bit quicker put together. It wasn't so polished, let's say, like it is now. But I tried a couple of layouts, especially in the first few months, in the first year. I think I changed 5 or 6 different layouts until we settled on this one.
Wow.
But I'm working on a new one, so I hope I hope people like it. Uh,
Oh, I'm
so
sure they will. It's always, I remember Facebook changed so many times, and every time they changed how your feed looked, everyone would complain. And then, like a week later, they'd totally forget about it and be used to the new layout. So,
yeah, but that's
and
Facebook.
it'll,
Yeah,
but it's like,
you
it's
can't
just
really
changed.
do.
Like, people get confused when anything changes, and then they usually
Yeah,
like it later. So, um,
yeah. I hope won't confuse people. It'll be more or less the same, but it'll fit in more information.
perfect. Fernando has a good question. He says, what is the highest
Mhm.
tier monster?
At the moment, it's 100,000. I know that there are higher tiers, by the way. but I didn't design one for a higher tier. Actually, there isn't a different monster for every tier. In the beginning, there weren't, I think at least, that there weren't so many tiers.
Mm-hmm.
So I designed, I think it was 5 or 6 different monsters. And then at another point, I added a few more and then a few more. But right now, to be honest, I don't even know how many tiers there are. After 20,000, it goes for every 10,000 tier, there was a new monster. And then after 20,000, and then at 100,000.
Okay. So the monster.
The golden
I thought you had a
unicorn is the
different
top
monster
one.
after 20. Don't you have one for 30 and 40 and 50?
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
every
we
10.
do.
Okay.
But not every tier, because I'm not sure how it goes after 20,000. Does it go straight to 30, 40? I'm not sure.
See what you mean. Okay. It does seem like every now and then somebody gets like the tier 12,000, but then some people go from 10 to 20. So I think you're right. It's a little bit, I'm not exactly sure how that works, but
I've seen screenshots of 16 for sure. I think 18, 20, 30. After 30, I have no idea what there is other than 100,000.
But you know that there's tiers after 100,000?
Well, I've spoken with people who are above 100,000. Yeah.
Wow. Do you think there will ever be a time where Amazon will limit us and be like, okay, that's enough? Like you can put 200,000 shirts up and that's it? Or do you think it'll just keep going?
Well, if it's 200,000, then it doesn't matter. I don't know how you can handle that many products.
But that's what we all thought at 10,000. Like in the beginning, we're like, oh God, who's ever going to get to 10,000? How could you possibly have 10,000 shirts up? But now there's people that really do have, 50,000 shirts up.
Well, there's a lot of information on how to streamline the whole process and how to automate it as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's played its role as well, because now it's much different from the beginning. Mm-hmm. People know how to create shirts in bulk, how to create scalable designs and so on.
Yeah.
So I think it's easy to reach a certain amount of products, but 200,000 is a lot.
I mean,
if you have
as years go by, just if you keep working year after year, I mean, I could definitely see it happening where you would have thousands and thousands of shirts. I just don't know if Amazon will ever decide that's too many. I kind of don't think they will. I think they'll let you keep going, but I'm not really sure.
I can't think of a reason why they would do that. I mean, what does it matter to Amazon if you have 10 shirts or 1 million shirts? The same amount of shirts are going to get sold in the end.
Oh, Ian's saying Zazzle did put a cap. Zazzle put 100,000 cap on products.
Yeah, okay.
So it's possible. It's one of those things we just don't know.
Okay.
We will see, but we know it at least goes up to 100,000, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we all get there one day.
Yes, I can't imagine needing too much more than that. So, Matthew's asking, will we be able to see reviews in Pretty Merch?
I'm working on that. It's one of the next things that's coming.
Great.
Actually, it was ready for a long time now. I probably had it almost finished last December, but that's when all the changes on Amazon's side came. And because of those changes, especially with the product section, I had to redevelop basically a very big chunk of the extension to make it work and to sort of make it future-proof as much as I know, at least. Mm-hmm. So now I have to change the way the reviews are collected and cached and so on. So it needs a little bit more work to finish, and after that it'll be released.
Okay, well that's exciting. That's something good to look forward to.
Yeah, I even want to see my own reviews. I mean, it's good for me as well. So
yeah, it's definitely. Before I used to just like try to find it every night, and then you get so many products that I just gave up trying to find it. And then Merch Wizard had a thing in their tool that you could find reviews. So then I started reading them and realizing like that I had shirts with lots of reviews. So it's definitely nice to read.
the question for me is, how do reviews on merch products help us as sellers? Because most of the reviews are about the quality of the product.
Yeah.
Which we don't have any control of.
I don't know exactly for sure how the algorithm works, but to me, it seems like it makes a big difference if you have reviews on a shirt that you stay higher up in the search.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So to me, it matters that way. And it also matters for the customer. Your shirt stands out more. So if they're like scanning the page and one of them has 5-star review and the rest don't have anything, it kind of draws your eye to it where you want to purchase it.
Yeah.
So
and
I think
I'm sure it affects the algorithm as well.
Yeah, I think those are
you're going to be shown.
2 main reasons.
All right.
And then I guess if you have like a really bad review, most of the time I just leave it alone, just leave the shirt up and leave it there. But some people like to just upload the shirt again so that they can start fresh without that review.
Okay.
So it's helpful to know, like, if somebody left a 1-star, like, long, terrible review, sometimes in some cases it's worth it to upload the shirt again.
Yeah. The question on my mind was, does Amazon actually treat reviews the same way in merch, the same way they do in the regular Amazon site? Because in FBA, if you get one bad review, you're done, basically. Your product has to go to the trash, especially if you don't have too many reviews.
Yeah.
But in merch, since it's Amazon's product, meaning they know if it's good or not, they know if the t-shirts that they're sending are good or not. I'm not sure if that one bad review, because it smelled bad, will actually affect the product in the algorithm, in its position where it shows up.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it does. So we'll see. It seems like it doesn't affect anything in terms of search if you get a bad review, but it potentially could discourage a buyer from getting it if they read the review, potentially. But so far, for any of my shirts that have bad reviews, they just keep selling at the same rate that they were before. It doesn't seem like, I haven't noticed a problem with getting a bad review.
All right.
Let's see. Ian's saying we'll need more than 200,000 when 50 product types on the platform and different marketplaces. Yeah, and that's true. Like before we just were doing t-shirts. So then we're having 200,000 unique t-shirts. But now when it's so many products and so many platforms, it's really only, 10,000 or something, or less than that. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, has a point.
Yep. So we'll see. It used to be a big deal to have 10K tier. Now it's like sort of just average, like everybody has it. Now it's more like 100,000, and then it's going to be exciting when that becomes just sort of commonplace, having 100,000 tier.
That'll be nice. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not sure how many people are that dedicated to merch and working, because 100,000
takes a lot.
You have to work. Yeah, you have to be working full time only on this.
Yeah.
Or you have to be really good at outsourcing and delegating jobs.
Yeah, I don't think there's probably a lot, but there's enough people that are continuing to work on it that I think there'll be quite a few people that get there.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
Well, what are you most excited about this year? Just in general, with work, with Pretty Merch, with Amazon? Is there anything you're excited about?
Well, I think the most excited I've been was in 2017-18 when Pretty Merch was released. Because it was nice to see, your baby getting accepted and people using it and so on. Now I'm just excited about some of the new features that I want to release and that I'm working on. Yeah, basically that. I'm just whenever I think of a new feature, it excites me, but I also think of how much work needs to be done to get out there. But I know it's just part of the job. But it's nice. I mean, whenever you release something new and you get comments, sometimes they're not good comments. I mean, the feedback isn't always positive. But I think for me, the negative feedback has always been the most important, because those are the things that you can improve on and make your product better. The good feedback, it's not something you can really act on. It's just nice for your ego, but up to there.
Yeah. It's so much. It's good to remember those good comments though for days when everything's hard. It's like remember
Yeah, of
that
course.
people do like it and it is going well.
Yeah,
It's interesting being a solopreneur because it's like especially for you, if you don't have like anyone else developing this with you, like there must be days where it's just hard, where it's like, if you can't figure something out or if it's just taking longer than you thought or
yeah, it is. It's I missed being able to share the problems and the difficulties with someone else
yeah.
because that's something I always had. And it's always easier to fix something when you have another mind, another set of eyes looking at it.
Yes.
But because all my friends are developers,
Oh, that's
somehow I
good.
managed to do that. Well,
That's
not all
good.
of them, but a majority of my friends
So
are.
you have people you can still bounce ideas off of and things.
Yeah, I mean, either on Facebook or if we get together, each person's discussing about their own project and you get ideas. I mean, even from someone that has no idea about merch, they can have a look at your application and say, "Oh, I don't like that. Change that," or "I think this will be better."
That's great. So it's almost like a mastermind kind of idea. Do you
Yeah,
have
I
any
have a
like
couple of friends.
official
Yeah.
mastermind group, or is it just like
No,
an unofficial,
no.
just friends?
Yeah, it's not actually a mastermind group. It's just a couple of friends when we get together because we're all working on different projects as solopreneurs, and we share the difficulties and the problems and the technical stuff sometimes that we can't get over or we need help with. And it's nice that because everyone has a different idea or a different approach to solving something.
How did you find those people? Because I think that's a really good tip for people. If you're a solopreneur, it's so important to have people you can still talk to or bounce ideas off of. The Facebook groups help a lot, but sometimes it's helpful to have people even closer than that where you could just message or, hang out. Are they local to you or is it just all over the world?
Yeah, no, they're locals. Believe it or not, they're friends from university still.
Oh, nice.
Because Cyprus is a very small country. I mean, we all went to the same university and we all
Except for
live
my friend.
within.
I was telling him before the show, one of my friends in the business school was from Cyprus
Yeah,
and he moved back to
okay.
Cyprus after school. He went to Rutgers.
Yeah,
So at least somebody
he's
from
not going to have
Cyprus
any friends.
got
He's
out
not going to
there.
have any friends from university here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because we still keep in touch and we get together every now and then, those are most of the people.
That's really good. Well, that's good. I'm glad you have that. Do you think that at some point you will hire people or try to find someone to partner with on this, or do you think that you'll just keep it yourself the whole time?
It's not in my plans. I haven't thought about it. It hasn't been necessary until now. At the beginning, the reason I didn't let anyone touch the code was mostly because of safety, for account safety. I mean, pre-merge is more or less handling live merge accounts. So if I do something wrong, it could affect the end user. So I didn't want to have anyone else working on it other than myself. So I know exactly what's happening in the extension. Because until now, whenever I've outsourced something for other projects, there's almost always mistakes in the code or things are done differently than you ask them to, or not everything's perfect. So I believe that if I handle it, I know exactly what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. And if any mistakes happen, I'll know that they're my fault. But the point is for mistakes not to happen. So
right. Well, you've done a good job with it. So, but yeah, so if merch ever comes up with an API, does that make it less risky? Like, because I know Chrome extensions are really not the safest thing. Because like you said, like you have access to the account basically.
Yeah, well,
so
it doesn't, pretty much doesn't know your password. So even though any extension can track your password if they want to, but I'm not sure if that will go through the Google Chrome review, because every time you submit an update to an extension, it's actually reviewed by a person at Google. There are automated reviews as well, but whenever you access some permissions, which these extensions do, they have manual reviews. And I'm not sure if they allow you to actually have access to a password field on a website. As far as being dangerous, and according to Amazon's terms of service, if you don't use something to automatically submit products, as far as I understand from their terms, there's no problem. So as far as that's concerned, I don't think Pretty or the other extensions out there are dangerous for the accounts. If they come out with an API, of course, it will be much better and much easier for us to develop. So there aren't so many workarounds to get the information. And yeah, but since that will be official, I mean, you'll know that it's Amazon's happy with it. But I don't see why Amazon would have a problem with the extensions, because they're not actually doing anything to the account. It's just like having a password manager on your computer.
Yeah.
If it was that case, every website will have a problem with the password manager for automatically filling in your password.
Yeah, there's so many Chrome extensions out there. So I tend to be on the side of not worrying enough about them because I don't know enough about computer and development and software and all of that. But I know in the beginning, my dad is like, he's a software developer, and he was like, be really careful with Chrome extensions. So is there anything that people should think about or look out for with any kind of Chrome extensions? Is there potential harm?
In general, or
in general
or in merge?
Okay. In general, well, and then in merge second.
All right. Well, in general, a Chrome extension is very powerful. It can do a lot of things. And depending on the permissions that the developer requests when you install the extension, it can write files, delete files from your computer. It can log into websites. It can monitor your web activity, see your search history. It can do anything. So as far as what they can do, they can be dangerous if you install the wrong thing. But Google has done and is still doing a good job at keeping the malicious, let's say, Chrome extensions out of the web store. And they're, especially in my news headlines, because they're all tech, I can see all the time that they're removing extensions that they found which were doing something which they weren't allowed to do. I don't know of any specific ones, but there are companies which just, for example, they create hundreds of very similar extensions with the goal of getting as many users as possible in different extensions. And they could be inserting ads, let's say, into web pages that you visit without you even knowing. So you see an ad, you think it's from the actual web page, but it's being inserted by the extension, and they're making money off the ads, which it's something you're not allowed to do. There are many things like this that you're not allowed to do, but there's always someone who's going to try. But Google's got very good at finding these, and they've put more restrictions in extensions. And if you ask for certain permissions, they ask you to say why you need them and how you use them, and they check your code thoroughly. So I don't think that's going to be much of a problem going forward.
Okay, well that's good to know. And then in terms of merge, is there anything to look out for with an extension or anything specific to merge?
Not that I know of. I mean, I think all the extensions out there, they're quite popular, and they're safe. And if anything goes wrong, people will shout it out immediately.
Right. That's a really nice thing about having a community. Everybody is very will say exactly what's going on. So, well, good. Is there anything, I guess just anything that people should look out for, or I don't know the right way to say it. I mean, I know Pretty Merch has been fine for years. You know, I've never had a problem, and I trust you and everything. But if you were to sell it, or if something happened down the road, is there anything that people should look out for or just be aware of with Chrome extensions?
It's difficult to say what to look out for, because extensions can do a lot of things in the background. If you're a developer, you know where to look, and you can see. I mean, because the code is actually downloaded onto your computer, anyone who downloads an extension can open the code and have a look at what it's doing.
Oh, that's good to know. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So if someone has the technical knowledge, they can see exactly what's happening in an extension. They can't actually hide something from you.
Okay, that's good.
But the thing is, until someone finds out, I mean, if someone's doing something bad, eventually someone's going to find out. But until then, they'll be able to do whatever they want.
All right. Well, lots to think about. I know. Yeah, that's really good. Thank you for telling us more about it. And that's interesting that you can see the code. That's kind of comforting. So if you did want to learn it or knew somebody that was a developer, they could just look at it for you and make sure. And then anytime there's an update on the extension, don't you have to accept an update? It doesn't just automatically happen? Or
no, it happens automatically. I think it depends on your settings in Chrome.
Oh, okay.
The only reason it wouldn't automatically update, where you would have to accept it, is if the extension is asking for new permissions to access different sites or different types of permissions. In those cases, it disables it until you accept the permissions again.
Okay.
But especially in Merge, just because we said a lot about extensions, and of course it affects me, but everyone as well. Because a lot of work goes into these extensions to be able to bring them to the level that all of them are right now. I honestly don't think that anyone would risk doing something with whatever with the data that they're handling, because it will be just a waste of a good product, and a waste of a lot of hours.
Exactly. Well, thank you for being so careful and doing the work yourself to make sure everything is done correctly. We really appreciate it. I've never heard anyone complain about Pretty Merge, so thank you for doing a great job. You have, but nobody's really, I mean, they complain if it's not working for 2 seconds when there's a new update, but most of the time people have been very happy with it.
No, I don't mind. I want people to complain, because that's exactly what helps me fix things or make things better. The thing I'm happy about is I don't have to monitor it all the time to see if it's working. Whenever there's a problem, Facebook Messenger starts
You're like, oh, look
dinging
at all
away.
these notifications. Something must have changed.
If I hear more than 10 messages in a few seconds, I tell my wife there's a problem, I have to go now. And I come and lock myself in the office and start working.
Speaking of which, how does your family think about this? Are they excited about what you're doing, or are they what do they think?
I don't know if you ask any tech entrepreneur how their wife feels about what they're doing, because my wife's not tech oriented. She works in insurance. She knows, she's seen it. She's not on Merch. She likes it as far as she's seen it. Yeah.
That's the way my
wishes that I work less.
What I do. He's just like, I don't know. She's on YouTube, I think. I don't know what she does.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same thing.
All right. Matthew's saying, can we get Nintendo Switch sound for sales?
I don't have a Nintendo Switch, but I'll search for the sounds.
And then a similar one saying, can you add more funny sounds or monster ones? So I guess everybody likes the sounds.
We want sounds. Okay.
More sounds.
I'll make a note now. I'll find something nice.
Perfect. Well, I guess we're getting pretty close to the end. Was there anything that you really wanted everyone to know in general about Pretty Merge or about anything?
I don't really have anything that people don't know. What I want to tell you, I was going to tell you before, and I forgot when we were testing the sound. Would you like to do a giveaway? Or I was going to say the name of just to finish the show will be the best way, I think.
Absolutely, that'd be fantastic.
All right, so I'll give three licenses for a pro subscription for life.
Wow.
So you can draw them any way you like.
Wow. Do you want to do it live right now?
I can't see the people in the chat. So if you'd like to do it, or I don't know how you want to do it. Now or later, if you want to announce them later
let's
in
give
your
one away
Facebook group.
live, and then the other two we'll do.
Okay.
We'll just do a post in the group.
All right.
All right. So
well, I can't see. I don't know. Can I see the people in the chat? Oh, I
I'll
can't.
ask a question.
Now
Whoever
I
answers it right will give one of the licenses away. So let's think of a good question. What is the highest tier that there's a little monster figure for Pretty Merch? What's the highest tier level that the Pretty Merch monsters go? First person to answer it correct will win. Okay, we got Zazie.
Yeah,
Message me after Zazie so we can get your information to get you the prize. All right, great. Well, thank you so much for doing that. And then everybody else, we'll do a post in the group so that everyone can participate.
For the other two, yeah, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, for the other.
Once you have the information, tell me and I'll get in contact with them.
What'd you say?
Once you have their details, send me and I'll get in contact with them to give them the code.
Great. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for watching. This has been really fun. It's nice to get to know you because I didn't know you before this show. So
yeah, well, I don't really do these types of interviews a lot. I'm sort of camera shy, so it's probably the second time.
Thank you for doing it. I know there's a ton of people that are camera shy or don't want to be on YouTube, but it really does help because people want to know like the people behind the tools and the people behind the things, especially if they, know about Chrome extensions. They might just want to make sure who is the person behind this product. So we really appreciate it. I
wish I was closer. I'd really like to come to one of the merch conferences, the get-togethers that I see are arranged all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sort of jealous for not being able to be there, but it's very difficult. It's very far away.
It's very far away.
Maybe next time I'm in the USA.
Europe? Are you or from like England or that part of Europe?
Actually, Cyprus is in Europe.
I know, that's why I caught myself after I did it. I was like, I know Cyprus is in Europe, but Cyprus is like far, right? Like by Turkey or something, or where's Cyprus?
Yeah, it's just below Turkey.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like by Merch UK. I was thinking of their conference. That's why I was thinking.
It's about 5 hours from UK.
Oh, so that's not too bad. You should go to that one. They're having a conference in March.
Yeah, I spoke with Rick already. It's a little bit difficult because I have a newborn at home and I can't leave for too many days. Yeah.
Aww. Well, whenever you can. I mean, I'm sure he'll probably do it again next year. So hopefully he'll do it again next year. So you could maybe go to that one.
Yeah. But
awesome. Well, thank you so much. And everybody, if you haven't got Pretty Merch, the link is in the description. And I think that's it. We'll see you guys all later. Thank you so much, Helen.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.